When the reality set in that there actually had been a plane crash, and on our initial observations that there were human remains involved with this crash site, it changed the whole complexion, I think, of what we were dealing with.
On April 1st, 1977, a U.S. Navy T-39 Sabreliner was conducting a low-altitude flight training mission in the skies above Anza Borrego Desert State Park. For undetermined reasons, the plane crashed, and all 5 crew members were killed. Hi, I'm Bill Berry, and welcome to my desert adventures. My friend Ken Jones asked me why I'd never done a video on the T-39 crash that happened in Blair Valley. I told him that I didn't remember that, and asked him to come down so we could visit the site and tell the story.
A park ranger by the name of George Leach started out on his patrol, and he had radioed in that he had heard a large explosion. George, at the time, said he believed it might have been an aircraft, but he wasn't sure. He left the main highway and started in the direction to confirm what had actually had happened.
Ken was the chief ranger of Anza Borrego Desert State Park in 1977, and I was a Ranger 1 working for him, but because I was in the north end, I never went to the crash site. Ken flew down from Sacramento, and we headed out from Ranch Mirage over to Borrego to try to find the T-39. We really didn't know what we were in for. That night, Borrego had winds in excess of 100 miles an hour. Huge utility poles had been blown down along Highway 86, and Borrego was without power. Oh man, so KJ, we're out here off of S22 at the beginning of our adventure to try to find that T-39 that crashed that you responded to back in April 1977, and
Right.
We're kind of running into some tough weather. I didn't expect this.
Yeah, neither did I. It's already pretty windy, and we're not sure what's going to happen later.
By the time we got to Scissors Crossing, it was snowing, and the wind was probably blowing 40 miles an hour.
Well, it's a half-mile hike. We're heading up the canyon behind us, and I've got the map, and we're going to try to find that T-39.
This was a major event in a park or any other setting. When we hiked to the site, there was some residual smoke from the crash site itself, and there was still a very definitive odor within that smoke that I'll never forget the rest of my life. It was a horrific smell that probably involved the human remains.
We're thinking it's probably high 20s, maybe mid 20s for the chill factor. So this is fun, right, Ken?
Yeah, it doesn't get better than this.
When we got to the general vicinity of the wreck, the snow was covering the ground, and we were frantically looking for the monument that represented the site.
It's not Mount Everest, but it feels like it.
When the reality set in that there actually had been a plane crash, and on our initial observations that there were human remains involved with this crash site, it changed the whole complexion, I think, of what we were dealing with. It also began a process of what do we do next? You know, now we're at a site, nobody else knows about this, or at least we don't know that anybody else knows about this crash. What do we do next? What are our next moves?
So we've been hiking for what, about 40 minutes?
Yeah.
We've looked at 2 plateaus. It's pretty hard out here because once you get on the ground, it's difficult to really determine the scenery, and none of our navigational tools are working very well because we have no service. So we're going to hike up this plateau here and see if we can see anything up here.
Yeah, I'll walk from this angle.
Okay.
Ken found the crash site, which was honored by a memorial from the family. All of the pieces left were quite small. We placed a flag in honor of the men who died. Ken was a lieutenant in the United States Navy during the Vietnam War and was the navigator of a supply ship. His mission was to resupply such vessels as the USS Enterprise, and he was decorated for his fine service. Ken reached the rank of lieutenant commander in the United States Naval Reserve.
We got confirmation at approximately 7 or 8 p.m. that day.
It took that long.
It took that long. There were hints of tiny items at the site that led us to believe that this may be a Navy jet. There were little pieces of uniform. There were nothing definitive, but it was the best lead we had. They told us at that time that they were in fact missing a jet. That was a T-39B navigational trainer that was overdue from Pensacola, Florida, and confirmed that it was their jet.
5 young men lost their lives that day. But this story takes a unique turn. John Michael Gronzella was attending UC Santa Barbara at the same time that my wife Kathy and I were enrolled there. And to add to that, our friend Dick Troy, who's a retired state park chief, has a friend who lives close to him in Borrego, who is Michael Gronzella's best friend. The Gronzella family erected this monument at the crash site. And the only officer that I found information on during my research was John Michael Gronzella. On our way out of town, we stopped at Dick's house for a visit. That's when he told us about Tony Feathers being Michael Gronzella's best friend. He called Tony, and we were able to get together to spend some time learning about the young man who lost his life that day.
So Mike and I became friends. We graduated. We did a lot of adventures together. We hiked together. There was 3 of us that were the main buddies, and Mike was one of those of the trio.
As I recall, I stayed another couple hours till I was certain that the site was secure. Then I felt I would be better off going back to headquarters and assisting more on the telephone end and the determination of who had owned the jet at that point in time.
We spent about 20 to 30 minutes at the site photographing different parts of it and all of the small pieces. But the wind came up and it was getting time for us to head back. Well, we made our way back down the canyon and eventually got to the truck. As always, there were a lot of mixed emotions. We'd been to a fatal crash site, but we were also on a desert adventure. So I want to end this with a tribute to Michael and the other men who died, and thank Tony Feathers.
I had a friend like a great big bear, thick or thin, he was always there. He kept a big smile on his face, and one in his pocket just in case. He had a dream and a job to do, he flew off into the sky so blue. He disappeared in the blink of an eye. I can't find words, but I still try. And every single word, just a part of the poetry, of the way that I hoped it'd be, of the way that I hoped it'd be. And every single sound, just a part of the melody, of the song that I hoped it'd be, of the song I hoped it'd be. Now every road I've traveled down is one that leads me round and round. The simple things of my heart's desire, twists and turns like a man on fire. I'm tying on my walking shoes, I don't know how much good they'll do. Walking's over and it's time to fly. Talking's over except a sweet goodbye. And every single word, just a part of the poetry of the way that I hoped it'd be, of the way that I hoped it'd be. And every single sound, just a part of the melody of the song that I hoped it'd be, of the song I hoped it'd be.